Prudhome, you heard Louis C.K., the part about if you don't vote, you're an a-hole. Do millennials feel that way?
No. So millennials certainly do not feel that way at all. This is certainly a different type of election than any other. What we have been seeing on the streets, it just has not been resonating to them. To the point earlier in the other video, 2008 and 2012 was different. It was President Obama. This particular election, a lot of issues have not been addressed by millennials. They want to hear things that are specifically geared towards them. Education, criminal justice issues, jobs, not just artsy, creative messaging, but actual specific points and policies that can resonate with that the candidates can resonate with millennials.
I think all age groups probably feel that way.
Right.
Chris Garcia, Hillary Clinton is now leading Donald Trump in the millennial group by 28 points. That's according to Harvard's Institute of Politics. Mr. Trump doesn't seem to be reaching out to younger voters like Hillary Clinton is. Why is that?
Well, thanks for having me on, Carol, by the way. I think that what's being overlooked is the enthusiasm gap, though, from 2012. So what we're finding, and by the way, last year I was invited by the White House to travel to Nairobi to speak at the Global Entrepreneurship Summit. And what we found is that millennials are really entrepreneurial by nature. And so what that means is we care more about policy over party. And that means we care more about good governance. And so what I've found is that millennials care about three things, and I've narrowed them down to what I call the 3 R's. They care about respect for everyone, no matter what your race, religion, and especially if you're LGBT. We respect everyone. Number 2 is responsibility for your actions. Millennials are definitely all about law and order, being responsible for the environment, and being responsible for caring for those who are less fortunate. And lastly, and this is most important, we care about reward for performance. And so that means, hey, if we're getting up at 8 a.m. to go to our class and we're going to earn our degree, we expect a good paying job when we graduate. So when we hear a candidate that says something like, hey, let's put America first, let's make sure we're bringing jobs back to America, stop sending money overseas to these endless wars that no one wants, to these countries that hate us in foreign aid, let's bring money back to the United States. And millennials, again, because we care more about governance, good governance, and good policy, that resonates with voters. So I would say that that's really the way that Mr. Trump can continue to have his dialogue resonate with millennials.
Well, you only got 6 days to go. So, Erin, I wanted to ask you about the email controversy because you're a Clinton supporter. Does that resonate negatively with young people?
I think that absolutely people are questioning, people are concerned, but when you put Hillary Clinton and her track record of success and the things that she stands for, the way that she brings our voices to the table, the way that she calls us the most inclusive, progressive, entrepreneurial generation she's seen. When you hold up those emails in comparison to Donald Trump, to the racism, to the bigotry, to the sexism, it doesn't hold a candle. She is the candidate for our generation. She has plans for America, and she'll work across the aisle to get things done. I believe that my generation will see that. There is no choice between these two candidates on November 8th.
Still, there is this enthusiasm gap, right? Chris Prudhome, I mean, Clinton is rolling out these big names.
Correct.
She has very famous people putting on concerts, but does that necessarily translate to votes?
I'm so glad you asked that because there certainly is an enthusiasm gap. And one thing is for certain, millennials are not naive. They can see straight through this. They can see, she can have President Obama, she can have Jay-Z, Katy Perry, Cher, Bon Jovi, all the surrogates that she wants. At the end of the day, millennials have to feel enthusiastic about a candidate. This is not so much a vote for Hillary as opposed to necessarily a protest vote against Trump. When President Obama ran, people were enthusiastic to vote for him. People are not, millennials are certainly not enthusiastic to vote for Secretary Clinton. They may be unenthusiastic to vote for both candidates, but they're more likely to vote for her. At the end of the day, to your point, Carol, this is not a race, and she's certainly not a candidate that they are actually going to run up and, hey, let's all go to the polls, let's wait 2 hours in line, let's go do it, let's make it happen. It's just not that type of election. This country and millennials are about trust. And right now, this is a candidate, obviously both, but since you asked about Secretary Clinton, this is a candidate who a lot of people, frankly, have a lot of trust issues with. We have a criminal justice system that is rigged in society, and the fact that people are looking at, I don't want to use the term "got," but the fact that this email controversy, and obviously Mr. Comey bringing it up again, it raises more doubt and more distrust within the community as a whole. Okay. So millennials look at that and say...
So I just want to get your predictions before I have to go. I just want to do predictions, right?
Sure.
Okay, so Chris Garcia, will young voters turn out in droves for Donald Trump?
Well, I think that one thing regarding celebrities' endorsements, I mean, for example, you've got very few celebrities coming out in support of Secretary Clinton. You've got people like Gerard Butler coming out for a Malibu City Council race, for example, for Peake, Mullen, and Wagner.
There are a massive number of famous people coming out for Hillary Clinton in Hollywood. That's
not as many as for
Democrats.
President Obama. But one thing that we have to remember is that there is an enthusiasm gap, in particular for the first-time voters who voted for Bernie Sanders.
Okay,
and then
so
a couple months later, they realized
your prediction,
they realized that it was rigged.
Your prediction, Chris Garcia. Your prediction: will Donald Trump win young voters this election?
He won't win young voters, but I think he'll have more enthusiastic young voters go out and vote.
Okay, cool. So, Erin Schrode, what do you think? Your prediction?
I think that Hillary Clinton absolutely will. You saw Trump give a speech in Ohio to millennials where he said, this is what you'll take away. No drugs, no alcohol, no cigarettes. I've been doing GOTV on the ground in Ohio. You're seeing millennials turn out. Her first speech was about criminal justice reform. She's joined with Bernie Sanders to talk about debt-free education. I'm
young people will turn out for Hillary Clinton.
Waiting. Yeah, they will. We've seen that she's amenable. We can push back on her. She's the president for our generation.
Okay,
but
so
millennials will vote with their wallets.
Prudhome, wait, I'm getting predictions. It's Chris Prudhome. So your prediction, will young people, which candidate will young people put into office if the election only involved young voters?
If I had to give a prediction, I would say certainly Secretary Clinton would have more young people than Mr. Trump.
All right, I have to leave it there. Thanks to all of you.